If there was ever a hot rod Lincoln, this 1970 Lincoln Continental Mark III would be it. It has it all: luxury, the big 460 with the big horsepower, timeless styling. But before getting into all of it, welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that shows you these cars like you've never seen them before. History, specs, design. If you're into binging content, especially mini documentary series on finer cars from the past, we post between 4 and 5 episodes each week, all of which premiere live, where I'm down in the comment section with you guys. I just wanted to tell you what we're about. If any of that sounds of interest to you, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. A couple of announcements real quick before getting into the meat and potatoes. Crankshaft Magazine is a magazine that does everything automotive, and we have an interview in that magazine, which is coming out next month. So be sure to check that out. Also, we are doing our first part of the conversation this year with Motorcar Portfolio this Thursday, which is the day after Wednesday, but the day before Friday, this week, January 23rd at around 3 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't make it to the live session, it will be posted afterwards. But if you're part of the live, you'll be part of the conversation. Hope to see you there. 1970 Lincoln model lineup was broken down into two offerings: the Lincoln Continental and the Continental Mark III. There is branding confusion around the Continental Mark series, going from the Mark III all the way out until the Mark VIII, and I'm going to try to clear it up the best that I can. Lincoln did not produce the Mark series. It was the halo car of the Ford Motor Company. But with that said, and it was sold at Lincoln Mercury dealerships, there is not any Lincoln script on any of those cars, but it does have Lincoln badging, which is confusing. It also has Ford badging, and it also has Continental badging. And you would think that Ford or Lincoln would clear up the confusion about whoever made the Mark series, but it was always like that for this car until practically the end. The Lincoln Mark series goes back to the Continental Mark II. The Mark III was a continuation of the Mark II. It's important to note a couple of things. Continental brand only lasted 2 years, 1956 and 1957. It was the halo brand of the Ford Motor Company. It was only available for 2 years as its own separate make. In 1958, Continental would go back under Lincoln. Lincoln made a Mark III, Mark IV, and Mark V in the late 50s. And then the Mark series would go on hiatus for a little while until Ford Motor Company wanted to revive it in 1968, going back to the Continental Mark III. The Mark III would be the start, or better yet, the continuation of the Mark series, which would last for decades as Ford Motor Company's halo car. The Mark III was produced from 68 to 71, followed by the Mark IV, 72 to 76, Mark V, 77 through 79, Mark VI, 1980 through 1983, and the Mark VI was available in 4-door and 2-door configurations. Mark VII, aka LSC, the other hot rod Lincoln, produced from 1983 through 1992, and the Mark VIII, finishing it out 1993 through 1998. It's worth mentioning the Mark name is still being used loosely over at Lincoln, but 1998 was the last year for the evolution from the Mark III series. Getting back to the Mark III was to be the flagship halo car for the entire Ford Motor Company. And there's a great deal of speculation. This car is made by Ford in the Wixom assembly plant, right next to the Ford Thunderbird. And on the other side of the Thunderbirds were the Lincoln Continentals. The Continental Mark III would come about when Lee Iacocca, who was the president of Ford Car and Truck Division, wanted a Rolls-Royce grille on a Thunderbird. Gene Bourdonnais would take a 4th-generation Lincoln Continental and a 5th-generation Thunderbird. The Mark III was proposed to Lincoln Mercury focus groups with negative responses across the board, but Iacocca and Henry Ford II loved the car, and they ignored the negative response, and they put the car into market. The Mark III was introduced to the world at 12 Hours of Sebring, March 23, 1968. Ford was able to keep costs down with development costs because the Mark III rides the same chassis as the Thunderbird. Ford would produce the Mark III, which was marketed by Lincoln and also sold at Lincoln Mercury dealerships from 1968, which was technically 1969, 1969, 1970, and 1971. It was only available as a two-door hardtop. Changes made for the 1970 model year include, but not limited to, the vinyl roof was now standard, windshield wipers concealed, Michelin tires were standard for the first time on any American car. Federal mandate moved the key switch from the dashboard to the steering wheel column with locking mechanism. Metal horn ring was considered dangerous, so it was removed. Standard features included, but not limited to, Sure Track braking system with power front disc brakes, which was a very early anti-lock braking system. It was only available on the rear wheels, power steering, power windows, power brakes, vanity mirror, deep pile carpet. The Mark III had a lot of standard features, so feel free, pause the video and just take a look at all of the standard features as well as different colors that you could get and options and accessories. Let's talk specs. 216 inches long, 79.4 inches wide, 53 inches tall. It rides a wheelbase of 117.2 inches. It weighs 4,866 pounds. Price, $7,281, which would be equivalent to you spending $54,224.74 in the year 2025. Total 1970 Lincoln production was 59,127 units, of which total Mark III was 21,432 units. Moving on to engine, only one engine for this car. 460 cubic inch displacement overhead valve V8 is part of the 385 family, 7.5 liters. It was good for 365 horsepower at 4,600 RPM, 500 pound-feet or 678 newton meters at 2,800 RPM with a bore of 4.4 inches and a stroke of 3.9 inches. Compression is 10.5 to 1. When backed with a 3-speed automatic, 0 to 60 could be had in 8.3 seconds, which seems a bit conservative because I did get to drive one of these back in the day. 140 mile per hour top speed while achieving an average of anywhere between 8 to 10 miles to the gallon. If you've been looking to purchase a Continental Mark III, I know a place where one is currently for sale. Classic Auto Mall, Morgantown, Pennsylvania, where they got this car and they got 1,000 other cars currently for sale when recording this episode. Anybody can go peruse their inventory, which is extensive. Walk through the front doors and I swear you can hear angels sing. For hours of operation directions and to get the full scoop on this very car, be sure to click the link below after the show. Let's talk styling on this car, starting with the marker lights. Just take a look at all of the different angles that marker light is. Notice it says Ford on the light. There's a lot of intricacies going on with this car. I love the bright work here. And there's so much stuff going on with this bumper design. No overriders and or bumperettes, but it does have quite the design. Peaks here at the front. Waterfall grille. But just check out all of that. Pinstriping here, which matches, it almost matches the interior color, which you'll see in a little bit. I love this bevel line here, how it bevels down and bevels up. And just look at all of the different lines in this hood profile. Comes to a peak here in the front. There is a slight, ever so slight crease going towards the single piece curved windshield. Fenders flare out nicely, and they're capped off with this bright work. The bright work continues down into the rocker. Mark III badging there. Super smooth side profile. It does protrude out here just a wee bit. Look at how this comes back. Curves ever so faintly. This rakes up. It's capped off with stainless steel. The windshield wipers are hidden. This material is the same material that is used on the roof. It does have drip rails that run the cabin of the car. Here's another Lincoln badge. Look at how these wheel openings are designed. It has this nice petite trim that caps it off. Cars riding on 235/75 R15. Gas filler is on the driver's side. Continental displayed right here at the rear quarter. I love how they kept this aspect of the Continental Mark II, except they shrunk it. How they kept this aspect of the Continental Mark II. Yeah, the only thing is they shrunk it in size and shape, and they added these trim pieces to bedazzle it. The rear bumper is totally different than the front bumper. Backup lights down here by the license plate. Hey, look, another Lincoln badge. Continental spelled out there in the fake steering wheel hub that was also found on the Continental II. But just look at all of this intricate trim. Has a rear cowl, as well as electric antenna. Look how high that antenna is. Stainless around the rear glass. This door feels like you're getting into a bank vault. It's absolutely gargantuan in feeling. Also, look at the thickness of the door. I absolutely love this interior, but we'll get to that here in a second. Look at all this trim, wood trim. Hey, look, another Lincoln badge. It might not say Lincoln anywhere, but that is a Lincoln badge because the Continental badge is bigger, just like the one on the hood. That's a Continental badge. Massive armrest. Door handle inside. The armrest to get out. Series of buttons. We'll start up here with the toggle switch for joystick style switch for the side mirror. This controls the seat, and these are the window switches. Those are self-explanatory. Coming down inside, the pedal box down here, high beam switch way up there, emergency brake. There is a rear vent switches here. Massive brake pedal that says Sure Track Brake. Gasoline pedal. Take a gander at this interior, which is absolutely gorgeous. Even if it's brown or tan or whatever, it just looks So incredible in here. Notice the light up there, door ajar. Notice all of the lighting. Let's go back here. The lighting makes this car feel very special. I just wanted to show you how beefy those hinges are that hold that door, and they have to be because that door is significant. Here is what over the hood looks like. What first person over the hood would look like. On to the button switches and knobs, starting on the left and moving right. This one has oil pressure and fuel at the bottom. There's a speed that is probably for cruise control. 120 mile per hour speedometer. Notice all of the numbers are going the same way with odometer at the bottom. Cartier clock. Amp meter, coolant temperature. Headlights. Notice this one has vents in the dashboard itself so that the air can come directly out at you. Over here is the climate control settings. Drive modes: read, park, reverse, neutral, drive, second, first. The stereo system is right here. More vents. But notice there's all of these vents for the driver, and then there's 2 vents for whoever sits here in the center if they wanted to sit here in the center with the split seat. And there's only 1 vent over here for whoever your passenger is. That's an interesting choice. Continental Mark III displayed right there. There's a dash light underneath there for reading a map, I guess. This could be an ashtray, or it could be a change tray, and this could be a power port because the cigarette lighter's gone. So, check out these seatbelt buckles. More Lincoln badging, or Lincoln, those are probably the same seatbelts that Lincoln used in all of their cars. Like up above, there are sun visors. They have this cutout here for the rear view mirror. The rear view mirror is quite slender and long. It has the daytime, nighttime feature, as well as another rear view mirror. Yes, another rear view mirror. Another visor that has an accessory mirror that the passenger could use as a rear view mirror, or she could look at herself or him or whoever's sitting over there. Your passenger sitting over there. Up above that, there's a series of idiot lights, or warning lights, I'm sorry. Seat belts, door jar, headlamps, trunk open. Just look at this steering wheel. It's a thin steering wheel, 3-spoke steering wheel with Lincoln badge in the center. Coming around to this side, this little tiny black peg that sticks out right there, that is for the 4-way flashers. Key. So turn signal indicators with what I'm guessing on the end is probably for the windshield wash feature. On to the glove box test. Here is our test subject. Here is my hand for reference. Here is the glove box in question. Yes. Oh, it doesn't quite fit. Unfortunately, man, we've been striking out with the glove box test today. It doesn't fit in the glove box. Getting in the rear has a seat back lock right there. Once you release the seat back lock, the chair or seat folds out of the way, giving you that much access to get back there. Here is what the front looks like from the back. Let's take a quick gander at the greenhouse, or the pillar to glass ratio in this car. It's cozy. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. It feels great in here. And I wish I could convey what it smells like in here. It smells absolutely incredible. This is what visibility looks like out the back from the back seat. Here is what parcel shelf looks like. There are lights in the sail panels. There's a light there. There's a light over here on the driver's side. Coat hook. No dome light though, but you don't really need it. There's a coat hook over there on the passenger side as well. So access to turning on the light back here when the door's shut, but I'm not going to shut the door because I don't want to get trapped back here. You have this armrest, which is super nice, and then you also have this, which opens up to reveal cigarette lighter and or power port and ashtray and or change collection bin. The window, believe it or not, opens back here, and it opens in a rather precarious way. Opens different than you would probably think. Instead of going down, it actually slides into the roof. Go down, they actually go inside. Just check this out. So I'm pushing the button. That is super cool. I never saw that. Seat back profile. It kind of curves a little bit. Reclines a little bit. Dips down in the back a little bit. It's not bad back here. Full size, 2025 adult. There's enough space to put my fingertips in between my knees and the back of the seat. There is a center armrest in the back, which comes out like that. There's also center armrests, plural, in the front. They go down like that. Notice all of the bright work on the seats themselves. This is a super nice car. I dig these. There's space in them, which is nice. Coming to the under the hood section, right here is the hood release. It comes all the way out here like a tongue. And gosh, it's a heavy hood. Heavy hood. So that's where that's at. Some more discrepancies. It's because it says Continental Mark III. It doesn't say Lincoln Continental Mark III. People will argue about everything and anything under the sun. But, yep, they'll say, oh, it doesn't say Lincoln. It says Continental Mark III. So, Fort Venturi 460 Continental. It's got dual master brake with power booster, air conditioning, compressor. A 12-volt battery. It's got the big soup can down here for vacuum. The lights are vacuum assisted. They're vacuum powered. There's all these vacuum cans everywhere. There's another vacuum can. Lots of hoses, lots of plumbing on this one. On the positive side, the Mark III offers the most powerful 460 that one could get in a Lincoln product. After the Mark III, the cars get bigger, and despite having the same engine displacement, they get strangled with smog and emissions. Hot rod Lincoln, awesome interior space. Many options to choose from, like cruise control. First American car to offer Michelin tires as standard equipment. Disc brakes in the front as standard. Space throughout, even in the back. This is like chef's kiss for Lincoln. Against it, make no mistake, this is a big car. Brand/product confusion. The big, powerful 460 V8 was thirsty, and the brakes, they could be a little weak for this car. I've driven one. Sometimes there's brake fade. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. Two scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather have a 1970 Imperial or 1970 Lincoln Continental Mark III, which was produced by Ford and sold and marketed by Lincoln, or 1970 Cadillac Eldorado? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. All right, the second scenario. What is your favorite Mark series? Write it in the comment section below. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to give both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. That's another one of my favorite bands. This one's from the 70s. Absolutely love that band. And every time that a song from them comes on the radio, definitely a smile. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. Or you could shoot me an email at what_its_like@yahoo.com. Thanks again for everything that you guys bring in the comment section. Until next time, toodaloo! Welcome to the after party, which is a slow walk around where you can see all of the lines, all of the trim, and all of the overlooked design of this car. This part of the video doesn't have any sound and or commentary, but you can put whatever sound or commentary you would like in the background. Enjoy.